Hello everyone, my name is Okay, and I want to present to you guys tonight why living in Japan is so different from living in other countries. Why living in Japan feels like living in heaven. There are many reasons, and I understand there are many people who might not agree on every opinion or every point that I'm going to be presenting tonight to you guys. However, these are my personal opinions, and you are free to comment on any of those points if you do disagree with me. One will be the Japanese people have the longest lifespan in the world. And the reason why they do have the longest lifespan in the world is because they are God's chosen people. They are after God's heart. And another reason, the second reason would be that the Japanese people are very generous. This happened to me my first time in Tokyo when I first came to Japan. And I met this Japanese man. I was looking for an address, and he told me, "Oh, where you going is very far." However, it's so difficult for him to describe the place to me. And he was like, "But he's gonna show me." I was like, "Okay, cool." And we boarded a taxi, and which cost us almost 4,000 yen, which is about $40. And getting to the place, so he paid for the taxi. And I tried to pay him back. He was like, "No." I was like, out of curiosity, I was like, "You don't have to do that. Okay, how about we just split it half and half?" And he was like, "No, that he didn't pay for this taxi because he wanted me to pay him back." And I was like, "So what should I do to show you my appreciation that I really do care for what you've done for me?" And he said to me, "Be my friend." And this is so amazing. No one has ever said this to me from my youngest years to this moment. But beside that, looking at Japan, my number 3 point will probably be that Japan is the cleanest country on the planet. If you go to Japan, or if you live in Japan, you can see this. Literally everywhere you go in Japan, big or small city, is super clean. Whenever you walk into the Japanese toilets, be in the grocery store or the train station or public places, they are all super clean. And beside that, let's go to point number 4. The Japanese government, the best government you can ever think of in the world. To prove this, if you go to the Japanese embassy, they will never ever ask you for money for a visa. The only time they ask you for money is when the visa is being approved, only when you can pay, compared to other countries. Doesn't matter whether it's in US, UK, Australia, wherever. So these countries, they take your money and they will not issue a visa to you. But in Japan, it's so different. So this is the best government in the world you can ever think of. This is just one reason. And another one is going to be the travel. Now, for Japanese people, if you're from Japan, you can actually travel almost every part of the world without needing a visa. The 6th point is going to be racism. In Japan, the issue about race is never a subject, because the Japanese people, they see only 2 races, either you're Japanese or you're foreigner. Whether you're black or white, they do not judge you by the color of your skin. So they just see you as a foreigner, which to me is so cool compared to a lot of countries where, people judge you based on where you're from or where you're born. If you're born in a certain country, to some people, oh, you're a good person. And if you're born in a certain country, to some people, or maybe your color is this or that. I don't want to talk about racial stuff, but it is what it is. And the 7th point will be politics. In Japan, people do not talk about politics because there's so much trust between the Japanese people and the government. Another point would be religion. So here in Japan, people do not care if you are Christian, you're Buddhist, you're Muslim, whatever you worship. So only what they care is that you are a human. That's what matters to the Japanese people. They don't care whether you're Israel, you're Jewish, you're Buddhist, whatever. Like I said, in Japan, the issue about politics or religion is never an issue. So which is almost the same as heaven. And another thing would be money. In Japan, there is no gap between the rich and the poor. Everyone is the same. So in Japan, in fact, in Japan is like 0% poverty out here. So in Japan, if you're rich, you're a millionaire, wherever you are. So in Japan, so people do not discriminate. Oh, I have so much money, I'm rich, I'm that. No, in Japan, it never happened. You can see a millionaire riding the subway, paying the same amount like what others are paying. Another point, the 10th point, would be the Japanese police. The Japanese police are so honest, hardworking people. I remember losing my wallet. I went to the police to make a report, and someone had found my wallet and my phone, and the person brought it to the police station, and they gave it to the police. So when I got there and they checked, they said, oh, someone brought the phone here and the wallet, and they gave it back to me, which is so different compared to all my travel lives and all the places that I've been to in my life. This has never ever happened to me. Besides that, so the Japanese police, they never stop people on the road and begin to harass them like other countries that I've been to. So this is something totally different, and the smartest security or intelligence system you can ever think of in the world. My next point will be fighting. In Japan, you are not allowed to fight, just like in heaven. You can talk, you can discuss. You are not, no matter what the problem is, you are not allowed to lay your hands on someone. If you do that, you get in trouble. So you can do that in other countries, but not in Japan. In Japan, you are never, ever, even in the dream, allowed to fight. Another point will probably be technology. So in Japan, like I said, the Japanese people are choosing after God's heart. And they are so smart. In terms of technology, they have created so many inventions in the world, which is changing lives. Now let's take a look at the fastest train in the world. The bullet train is owned by Japanese. Let's look about, there's so many things. The best auto car companies in the world, Toyota, Honda, Suzuki, just name them. So they all have their bets in Japan. Lexus, just to mention but few. And another point will probably be the Japanese women. So they are the most beautiful women you can ever find on the planet. So they are kind in heart, they're generous, they are smart, they're caring. So they will always accept you for who you are and always willing to listen to you and work with you for your progress. Another thing will probably be, my last point would be security. In Japan is so secured that a lot of times I do not need to lock my house. This is not a story. I'm not supposed to be saying this, but it is true. A lot of times I'm just so lazy. I'm too lazy to find my keys. And I'll just close the door, go out. Sometimes I even travel without locking my house, and I come back, my house is safe. So please guys, thank you so much for listening to me and watching this video. I want you to drop your comment below. Thanks.